Okay, so good morning, East Coast. Good morning from Tisha G. I just wanted to touch in and talk about a few things that this week has been a harrowing week for me, and I'm going to tell you why. And the title of this feed is Exposure to Composure. Right? And I want to talk about this because it's so important. I remember a time when I would be interacting or exchanging or in relationships with people who whatever came up came out. Whatever came to their mouth, they just let it out. Right? And I was in a household where that part of me, that part of my psyche, if it's something that's input into the human psyche, that part was stifled very early. It was instilled and or drummed in me at a very early age that you just ain't gonna say what you gonna say around grown folks and or in certain settings. And that which was beat into me or drummed into me, if whatever you want to choose to say, it bled over into other areas. I was afraid to say stuff to people. So when I would go into relationships with people, whether it be teenage years or young adulthood or adulthood, I wouldn't say anything. I would just allow things to happen, whether it be those relationships with other women or relationships with, male counterparts, with intimate relations, male or female counterparts. And I allowed that part to be stifled. So people would just have their way with me. As I started to develop and grow as a woman and grow into womanhood, I made some decisions for myself. I made some healthy decisions for myself. And some of those decisions, hey, Felicia, you may be able to identify with that. When I get finished, I'm going to bring you on camera if you're still available and you can speak to it. Do me a favor, Felicia. Could you give me a thumbs up that you can hear me? Is my audio good? Hey, let me know if my audio is good. And so, and people would just have their way with me and say whatever they wanted to say. But as I began to develop into adulthood, womanhood, what I found out was that I have a voice, right? And it was a song, I think it was by Jim Croce in the 70s. It also, his song spoke to I have a name. And not only did I have a name, but I have a voice, right? And I can use it. The same way that people would be okay. And I'm going to give you some solid examples because some stuff jumped off this week and it's been happening in succession. And there's no coincidence that things happen the way that they happen in the sequence that they happen in. And that's when I find that I need to pay attention. When I have more than one or two instances with a particular scenario, I need to pay attention. So I'm gonna give you some examples, but give me a minute. And so I was like starting to speak up for myself, and at first it was a little uncomfortable, like I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I didn't want to do a disservice to the relationship. I didn't want you to leave me. I didn't want you to, reject me, And as I got over that hump, I forged through a new portal. And that portal was, well, what about me? I'm being hurt. And if you value me, then you're not going to do anything to hurt our relationship. I never thought of it like that. And let me tell you something. It took years to get there to that spot. And so when I got to that point, I had hit the ground running. It was boots on the ground. Hey, Priscilla, good morning. And so now I'm here. I have several hats, right? I'm a mom, right? So I'm a steward over somebody's life, and it's my responsibility to usher them into the world with the information that I gather so that they could be better off to be able to face the woes and wows and the excitements and joys of the world. I'm a sibling. You know, my brother's passed on some time ago, but I cannot dismiss, or it would behoove me to sit here and say that that sibling part of me is still there. I'm the eldest of two male siblings. You know, that carries a responsibility whether they're here or not. And then there is the employee, right? And of course I mentioned earlier about my relational counterparts, but I want to focus on the employee part, because that's going to carry me right into what brought me here today. Being an employee carries a whole responsibility, and I'm going to tell you why. Because people say you don't need anything but air and water to live. But when you live in a society that's run on, right? Monetary, right? And you have a skill set, right? That could take you to a place that will pay you a certain amount of money for that skill set. A certain amount of composure and they call it professionalism. They call it ethics. They call it a whole slew. They have a whole terminology in the workplace of what they call it. But I'm calling it, for intents purposes of this feed, I'm calling it composure. And the stuff that I do in my outside life, if I let it come up and then let it come out, there's a certain way that I have to be and conduct my affairs in the workplace, lest I'll be without that monetary that will sustain and help me to maintain my livelihood. Does that make sense? And so I'm sitting here, and what has happened is that I work in an environment that rides, right, on customer satisfaction and or client satisfaction, so much so to the point where I am almost diminished and devalued as a woman, right, as a person, right, as an employee of said establishment, right. And like, I made a decision once I crossed through those two portals that I talked about a minute or two ago. Like, I made a decision that you're just not going to talk to me any old kind of way, and I have a function that I serve in your life. Whether it be I'm your sister, whether it be I'm your mother, whether it be I'm your sibling, whether it be I'm your service worker who is responsible for evaluating, assessing, and determining eligibility. I made a decision. You're not just going to talk to me any old kind of way without me having my say. Does that make sense? So Monday comes around here. No, not Monday. Sorry. Tuesday comes around here. And I'm here at work, and I'm servicing this client, and I'm doing my job. And sometimes when we're working with the population that I work with, the subcategory of the human race that I work with, and I don't mean to say sub meaning they're under. There's different categories and different branches. I am not here to demean anybody. And I'm servicing this particular male client, and I'm interviewing him, and certain aspects of the interview I'm not clear of, and I'm talking to him, and I'm trying to get clear, and in my frustration I said some things to him that set him off, right? And so we're getting there, and I'm telling him that he wasn't allowed to certain aspects of the benefits or the services that this program that I am responsible for dispensing. He wasn't allowed to it in a particular time frame, and he got upset, and he said some things, and he also asked for my supervisor and the gist of all that. And then he proceeded to call me excuse my French, early in the morning. He started calling me all types of bitches with a bunch of adjectives in front of it, right? And I'm talking like this because, like, I've been sitting and trying to, because since then, some other scenarios right behind that has happened, and which leaves me with pause to have to take a look at what's going on over here. I'm talking about at Camp Tisha. So he continues to call me all these types of B's and this, and just know, right, that your girl comes from, he had the right idea. He just had the wrong girl. If that makes sense. If that was how he was feeling, he was more than welcome to express his feelings, but he had the wrong girl. So we gets in front of my supervisor, and something in me was stirring so hard. And I want to talk about this because when you have a level of composure, or you adopt it, or you learn that it's there within you, and you tap into it at a time when something like this is going on. Because I come from a household, I came from a verbally aggressive, abusive household. Being called what I just expressed a few minutes ago, or a minute ago, is not uncommon, right? It's hurtful, right? And I made a promise to myself when I became an adult that if ever someone ever called me out my name, right, there was going to be problems, and I didn't care where we were. Well, this particular day, I had to tap into a level of composure that I did not think I had. Does that make sense? And so I'm here, and I'm tapping into this stuff, right? And I'm talking to this young man. I'm talking to my supervisor, but at the same time, I'm cognizant of the fact that I'm mad as hell, right? Good morning, Jackie. I'm mad as hell, and I want to blow his doors off, and I want to do some things. I want to say some things, and I'm agitated. So at some point, a light switch went on, and I said, I'm going to address him in front of my supervisor. And when I tell you your girl was smooth as warm butter, and I'm not talking about margarine or country crock, I'm talking about that rich, smooth butter, right? Right? And I'm like, wow. I'm still sitting here today in front of you guys, and I'm saying, wow. Right? Because I said some things to him. I let him know that how he spoke to me was unacceptable. Right? One. Two, right? After he called me all those things, like, what do you need me to do with this case? Right, supervisor? Because this guy is deficient and defunct and unacceptable, right? Behavior unacceptable to me. Like, still, what do you need me to do with this? Because the bottom line at the end of the day, like, next week, my rent is due. Right? Right? So I know in the beginning of this feed, they say we don't need anything. But when you walk and work and live in a society, right, that thrives on monetaries, right, there are some things that are considered necessities. Does that make sense? And so I exhibited a level of composure the other day that was just unbelievable to me. And I'm getting ready to call. I'm going to see if Felicia can come on, because I know that she identifies with me. Jackie, I'm going to see if you can come on. Priscilla, it doesn't say that you can come on, but I want to talk about this morning. When you have exposure to composure, what is that like for you? What does that look like for you? How does that feel? Because I'm telling you, I crossed over through some portals in the past 10 years that what happened to me the other day would have not happened. And I would be out of a job today. And I would not be able to function, right? Right? I'm talking about that growth when you do that work, right? To get that exposure to composure, right? And I wasn't afraid. I said what I said to him, and I meant it, and I said it in front of my supervisor. And if it was inappropriate, it would have been dealt with. Needless to say, before the interest of time, because I got to see a few people, I got cussed again later on that day. And then I had mental health staring me right in the face, right? Maladaptive mental health right in my face. And I had to adjust accordingly. I couldn't take what happened earlier that day and bring it over into that interview, because that person didn't deserve it. I had to readjust. Talking about that exposure to composure, that is when you find that you've reached a level of refinement. What say you guys? I want to bring some people on. I think Felicia was the first one. Felicia, I hope you come on, baby, because I really want to talk about this while she's coming on. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh my God. I'm so glad you came on. And everybody else, I see Jackie. I see a whole slew of people that is the part of my hit squad. Like all week, I've been getting cussed out. Like,
Well, it's the end of the year, right? 2023 is wrapping up.
Right.
So it got to go out with a bang, right? Um, but more than that, just what you said, crossing these portals, sometimes we get a check or evaluation that takes place in our lives, right? Just to be sure that we're ready for the next level.
Ooh.
Um, you know, our family, like you said, we've been through, seen some, lived through some things, right? And so every now and again, we will have a evaluation done on us before we go to the next level, to the next chapter, right? That's when we talk about this self work, self growth. People like to really talk it, but are you walking the walk? Because it's not all roses, it's not all pretty. It's days like you had. That's self growth. It comes with days like you just had. It gets ugly, it gets dark, it gets lonely, it gets frustrating. And like you said, we have to remind ourselves, actually, this is going on, and we having a whole conversation in our mind, right? As we try to gather the words, because we know what we want to say, we know what we used to want to have said, right? So I can imagine your facial expression probably was like, this nigga have no idea who he talking to right now. And, but that composure, you had to fight against that because the rent is due, because we are adulting, because we've learned to live life on life terms with no excuses. We're not giving any excuses to it. Can we? Probably so. Probably so. When your next client came along, guess what? You had the excuse of, I'm having a real bad day and I ain't got
Right.
time for your crazy ass. Right? So, so what I think happened, I think, like I said, 2023 is coming to its close. We're in the last week, right? And it's a part of the process to show in preparation to start you for that next level, right? It did nothing but made sure you was ready for that next level. How are you going to stand this, the universe said? How you going to deal with this? Are you going to dig down deep and say some stuff that'll hurt his mother's soul? Or are you going to keep your composure? Where are we today, my child?
Right. Right.
Where are we today as I prepare you for all that is coming? So, great job. We always say
Thank you. Thank
we're
you.
we're a work in progress. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna tell. Sometimes in the midst of, I'm in corporate America too. We know how it goes. I've found myself saying to a person, I am not there yet. In other words, walk away now, because I am not there yet. I used to say that. Wherein now I know when it's my time to walk away. I know when it's my time to shut it down because, yes, the bills have to get paid. You know what I'm saying? I come here for a purpose. I show up every day with a purpose in mind, and I can't allow ignorance, because that's what you was dealing with the other day, by the way. I can't allow ignorance to dictate how that's done, or how successful or not I am in that role of my life. Not doing it. Not doing it today. Been down that road. Been down that road. So it was just, it was really just a test, in my opinion.
Right.
From my
Right.
perspective, it was preparation to close out the year, because there's higher levels, right, that you're walking into. And so you probably this week it's probably gonna be some chaos at the workplace. Because then too, these people also coming out of Christmas, right? All that stuff that come along for some folk with that, and going into the new year, probably done spent money and whatever before they got it. So that frustration is there. A lot of people this time of year, if you notice, depression rates are higher. It's just like that. You know what I mean? It's just like that. And in your line of work, of course, you're gonna be the one to like see the brunt of it more so than what I do in corporate America. You're more hands on with a certain population.
Right.
So you are more susceptible to that. And so these next couple today and tomorrow, you probably get more of that. You probably get more of that,
Right.
honestly. And so you at least now for yourself, because like you said, you didn't even know that you had that type of self-discipline and composure until it happened. So it needed to
Right.
happen. It needed to happen
Right.
just the way it did, right? So now without thought that you know how to deal with that. Without
I was
thought.
shocked. I was
So
shocked. I
I'm
was
sure
shocked.
you were. I was sitting here listening, like, oh, it's
I was
about she
shocked.
about to say what she said, like,
Right.
uh,
I went to
but
by the time he got to the second bitch, I was like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
it
it's
was just so,
so
I mean, and how I didn't curse.
that's all of it needed to happen.
I think I might have disconnected for a minute and I said some things, but if they were inappropriate, my supervisor, trust me, I would not have a job today.
Right.
But I don't remember what I said, but I know I said something to him. I got him to a point where he was just like, I apologize. And I said, but why your apology not as loud as all that stuff you was just spewing? Now you know. And then I had to reel myself in. I said, you know what? Just let it go. You got
You got
something.
something. You got
Right.
something. And believe it or not, considering the way he carried things, that something was real big for a joker like that.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean?
With the way he lost it. Exactly.
Right. So that was real big for a joker like that. So you got
Right.
something that probably no one else would have gotten. Again,
Right.
it was very necessary for you. It was very necessary for it to happen just the way it happened.
So that's my day.
Yeah.
And alas, everyone, I get to go in here just like you said right now and do it all over
All
again.
over again. All over again. With a smile on our face, right?
Season's greetings. Have a good day.
Absolutely.
Be safe.
Absolutely.
Be
Right.
safe. Be
Right.
well.
Right. Right. Yep.
Happy Kwanzaa.
And yes. And have it pour off of us. Have that joy like pour off of us. You know,
Yeah, like
hey. Yeah. Uh-huh.
so. I just wanted to talk about that. It's so good to see you. We got to get in touch. We got to keep in touch.
Absolutely.
Jackie, I see that Jackie says she's in Virginia now.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
cousin Jackie cousin Jackie is in Virginia now. I
I
think
wonder
I'm not
what
wrong.
part. Because
Right,
that's where I am.
right. So I got to
Mm-hmm.
find out where she is. Maybe I can make a trip down and we could
Right.
all hook up.
We could all hook up. Yep.
But if you missed this, run it back. Think of some good stuff. Exposure to composure. I ain't know I had it. I thought it was
You
just
know now.
a word in the dictionary.
And now you
I
know.
have it.
And now you
and
know.
and if you know somebody that could benefit from this,
Please
please.
share. Please share.
Because guess what? The bottom line is if you paying bills,
Whew. You
We
probably
need
gonna have to.
our jobs. Ain't nobody else paying the bills. The only person when the lights go out, it's my fault.
Yep.
When that yellow sticker get put on that door because of non-payment of rent, it's my fault.
Right. Right.
And guess who the only person that hurt because of it? Me.
Right.
I'm homeless. I'm in the dark. If I open the refrigerator and I'm looking at the back of it, guess who fault? That's mine. I'm the only person. I don't have that rich husband. I don't have that dude that said, look, y'all ain't gonna get on my wife's nerves. Boom. She can leave this joker and we got it. I don't have
Right.
that.
Right.
I'm still working on that.
I told you we're a work in progress.
Right. I didn't hit them six numbers for that 638 million the other day. Because if I would have, my composure probably would have been different.
Right. A lot different. Yeah. Yeah.
That's another conversation for another time. But I'm going to let you guys go. You guys have a good day. You deserve it. And then you definitely deserve it if you are pursuing it. She said Hopewell, Virginia.
I think that's Northern Virginia. I gotta
Okay.
look
Because Virginia's
that
pretty
up.
big.
Yeah, it's huge. You drive Virginia for hours,
All
literally.
right. I'm gonna look it up too. But
Or it might be
nonetheless, all the
Western.
same, you guys have a good day. You deserve it. And in this season, just keep your eye on the prize.
That's right.
Because the vultures and buzzards are out there. And we're not talking about to take the physical stuff. We're talking about the emotional and the spiritual and the psychological that they want to pick off at. Enjoy. I love you. I love you like a fat
Uh,
kid love
yeah,
cake.
cake. I love you
We're
too,
going to
girl.
get in touch and we're going to talk. Have a
Absolutely.
good day. You deserve it. I'm going to get in here to this job, and you guys have grounded me, and thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Until we speak again.